Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Hanan, biochemistry lecturer and admin of SAP's scholarships, activities and programs Facebook group. Um, Today we're talking about postgraduate studies abroad. Someone might think, what are we talking about today? We have Corona crisis these days, and like a sort of a la land talking about scholarships in an era where there's no aeroplane flying even. So I want to tell you something that I believe in. My mother always told me, get ready, so that when you hear get set, you are ready to go. So I think this is, in my opinion, and I think also in my colleagues' opinions, this is a very good time that you can make use of to learn and develop your skills, so that I believe after this crisis ends, there will be huge demand for very good calibers, for scholars everywhere. Because now people know the importance of science and how brilliant minds are helpful. So there are two ways to learn anything. There is the hard way, which is doing it by yourself from scratch and regretting mistakes. And then there is the easy way, which is learning it from an expert. And that's what we are doing today. We're giving you an opportunity on a golden plate. Today, I have the honor and pleasure to be hosting amazing, brilliant minds, professors, doctors, and scholars who have did their degrees or still pursuing their degrees in different countries and in different fields. And inshallah, we are going to discuss some of their challenges, everything they went through. They will give you like pieces of golden advice from their experiences. I hope this will be useful, inshallah. I totally believe that this will be useful, at least for me, and I think for everyone else who is pursuing this pathway, or even if you're not pursuing this pathway, I'm quite sure that you will learn a lot. It's quite unfair to host all these amazing people just for 1 hour. And I think each one deserves like a complete, maybe week of interviewing, but I truly understand that their time is extremely valuable. And so we'd like to thank them so much for giving us this chance today. I would rather stop talking now and give them the chance. So we will start first by giving each guest the chance to introduce themselves, tell us what's their name, their work field, whether they got a degree or not, the country they got their degree from. And then I want them to tell us, first question will be, choose a challenge that you have faced in your journey. It could be before applying, during application, after you traveled, or even after you finished your degree, whatever challenge. Tell us how you managed to overcome this challenge. And sometimes it comes to your mind, I wish someone told me any advice. So I want you to tell us the challenge, how you overcame the challenge, and what you wish someone have told you that could have saved you a lot. So let's start. I would just ask the guests, please mute your mics so that there's no background in case you're not in the speaker mode. So let's start with Dr. Ahmed Samir Modi from USA. Please tell us the country that you're in and the country where you did your studies, and introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Ahmed Modi. I graduated from the University of Ain Shams in 2006. And then I did my master's in the Netherlands at Utrecht University. Afterwards, I moved to the US, where I did my PhD in medicinal chemistry at the University of Michigan. And then afterwards, I did a quick postdoc for a couple of years. And right now I work in a small biotech company called Ribin Therapeutics. This company is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I guess the big challenge for me was finding my way to apply to graduate studies and finding scholarships. At that time, Facebook was still like at the beginning, so it wasn't easy to find other people who went through that path and talk with them to get an idea how to do this. So I think this was a very challenging part. The helping part here was that we found somebody who traveled before us, who showed us the way, like how to prepare our documents, how to apply for scholarships, how to search for those scholarships, things like that. So I guess like the presence of a mentor was very important in this kind of challenge. Another thing I think, which is something I talk about to other people now, is like if you want to go through the track of graduate studies, it would be nice to start early. So even from your second, third year as an undergrad, it would be great to start to prepare yourself either through language, getting trained in the language, or getting high grades in your school, things like that. So this will help you by the time you graduate to be ready. Also, if you have some research experience, some even undergrad publications would be very, very useful. So I think these were the challenges that that would be helpful to learn to overcome before applying abroad. The challenge afterwards is usually when you move to any country is adapting to this new environment. It could be a different language, it could be a different culture, even different education systems. So all these things are very important to be able to adapt to them very quickly, because with all this with all these challenges, you still have to go through classes and courses and get high grades, and you have research to go through with and all these things. So it takes a while to adapt to the new country. So it would be nice to have somebody who's in that country before you, who can give you like a quick crash course to tell you what to do and how to get prepared and quickly adapt to that new place or new culture.
Okay. Can you tell us about what you're doing now in helping people pursue this path?
So when I was at the University of Michigan, I started with some other colleagues an organization. It's called Egypt Scholars, where we're actually providing a lot of help to undergrads who are trying to apply for graduate studies abroad. We review their applications, their statement of purpose, their CVs, things like that. We also try to mentor students, like I guess all ages, through our Egypt Scholars Lab, where every year we provide a lot of classes or webinars regarding the basics of scientific research. And a lot of the graduates from this lab, actually, they get connected to some of their professors, either in Egypt or abroad. And we actually have like several publications that come out from these kind of networks. So it's, I think, yeah, this is through Egypt Scholars. So, and there are lots of successful stories that came out from the services we're giving, with lots of students finding their dream universities and going there for their studies, and even their dream jobs. Right now, like we're also helping with finding jobs like in industry, either in Egypt or abroad.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed. This was very useful and great. And I think we might come back to this point at the end, inshallah. Thank you. Okay, Minna, can you share with us any challenge that you faced throughout your whole journey, either before or during or now?
Yes, of course. So hello, everyone. My name is Hindawi. Maybe you see me a lot posting on the group. I did my master's in 2013. I actually graduated in 2012 from Ain Shams University, Faculty of Engineering, Department of Urban Planning and Design. And after that, I traveled to Germany through a day funded in collaboration with the Ministry of Higher Education to do my master's. And later I applied for PhD also in Germany, but I also went through the experience of applying outside Germany. But in the end, I got a good offer from Germany, and that's why I came here. So I'm currently in the last phase of my thesis, and I'm finalizing it. And I would say I was not seeing that there is actually a real challenge for traveling, except I would say that the mindset to decide to travel. So the main maybe thing that actually nothing kept me hesitated, because I decided to do my PhD abroad because I would like to be an academic anyway. And especially after doing my master's in Stuttgart University in Germany, I came to a realization that it's not about traveling and doing our studies abroad, but about being exposed to a different system. And that's why I wanted to pursue not only even the German system, but also elsewhere. So going back to the question of the challenges, the main thing that I spent around 1.5 years applying for a PhD. So that was my main, I think, thing, but I had a plan B scenario that in case I was not able to find a scholarship to study abroad, I was going to start anyway in the countries which have free tuition fees, universities like Germany, for example, and Belgium. So this was my plan B. So anyway, I wanted to do a PhD and I wanted to do it abroad. And my first option would go to a fully funded program, but my second option would go that I would stay in Egypt and pursue it from Egypt, but abroad.
Great. Thank you, Minna. Good luck, inshallah, in your journey. I hope you end it successfully, inshallah.
Ya Rab.
Inshallah. Okay, let's go next. Dr. Rania Hathout. Can you please quickly introduce yourself and tell us shortly? You can basically choose from either the master's or the PhD, the challenge that you want to speak about.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Rania Hathout. I'm an associate professor of pharmaceutics and industrial pharmacy at Ain Shams University, and currently I'm the head of the department, unfortunately. Now I'm in Egypt, actually, and I traveled 3 times. The first time was for my PhD. It was in the University of Bath in the UK. And the second time was for a postdoc in Leiden University in Netherlands. And the final, or the last one, was in the UK as well, in the Department of Chemistry in Lancaster University. I will cut it short. The challenges that I see is the most important, I think for everyone, not for me, is to choose the supervisor. The choice of the supervisor is the most challenging experience, because I usually advise my scholars and my students that you have to gain all of the experience and not to just to focus or to concentrate on the thesis or the practical experiments, for example, or the specific point that you are dealing with. No, but you have to change your mindset and try to learn different approaches of thinking and different approaches of even teaching if you are enrolled in an academic career. And also the second challenge is to find a good accommodation, because for me, I spend a lot of time at my first arrival at the UK in 2008 to find an appropriate, let's say, an appropriate accommodation. And I wish that someone has advised me before travel to find something that is appropriate for the people who come from countries like the Arab countries or the Islamic countries, and to find an appropriate place to live in with a good community. So this may make a problem for a lot of people, especially for the females. And this problem, I think, we can help others by saving them this tough experience. That's my advice.
Thank you so much.
And to choose the accommodation. You know me, Hanan, I'm always on the point.
And I saw all the ladies nodding their heads, Yani, when you were speaking about how the ladies suffer
And the choice of the supervisor, I don't know if you agree with me or disagree, but I have a certain advice for my scholars that they don't travel to work with people from the third countries. I'm not trying to be I don't want to be that biased, but I see the experience as a full experience, and I always advise them to try to learn how other people and other races think and how they can deal with them. And this is actually is another very important experience, not to work only in the scientific level or on scientific let's say the thesis and what is related to it.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Rania. Dr. Omar.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Pleasure for being with you today. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Omar Sakr. As many of you, I'm also a graduate of Ain Shams University, class 2005. My story went a little bit different. First, when I let me start by saying I got my PhD in pharmaceutical technology, specialty nanodrug delivery systems from the University of Geneva. But when I traveled, I faced over 2 years of rejection, although I claim to have at least a very good resume at that time. I already had a publication at one of the very highest journals in the specialty at my master's degree, and yet I had 2 years of failure in applying. So I just wanted to communicate a lesson here. Afterwards, after 2 years of rejections, when I got applied, or when I got accepted, it was like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was preparing something different for me. I went to work in a pharmaceutical company in Berlin in a project in like a joint venture with the University of Geneva. And the company that I went to work for have completely changed my life. And after I got my PhD, probably a couple of you know, I've already quitted the academic career into industry. I got my MBA from Hull Business School in London, and then I started Nawa Scientific, and I'm now teaching business at the university. So going back, I feel grateful for those 2 years of rejection, because if I went through the typical academic career, probably I wouldn't end where I'm now. So just wanted to mention this. Alhamdulillah, ala kull ahwal. Always Allah chooses something the best for you. So just be patient. So coming to your question, the major challenges, yeah, as I said, I got a lot of rejections in the beginning. And then when I went to Berlin, I had some issues with the German culture. Especially, I traveled in the particular year when the Egyptian pharmacist was killed in Dresden. I don't remember the name now, but it was a tough year. So the whole community was sort of polarized against the Arabs and so on and so forth. In 3 years, the company got bankrupt. So I had to move my family from Berlin to Geneva. And this is a whole switch, because Geneva follows the French culture. It's the French-speaking part of Switzerland. And they have different ideologies, different etiquettes, different ways of speaking to people in the street, and needless to mention, a different language altogether. I had to also move my family with me from Berlin to Geneva. So by the time we adapted to German culture, we had to restart again. Wasn't easy. So of course, all mentioned challenges by my colleagues and professors. By the way, Dr. Rania was my professor. So happy to see you today, and really a pleasure. Yeah, all of those challenges are valid. Having the right professor, the culture of the space, the language, and of course, applying. Now, afterwards, when I switch it to the business side, there is a whole new bunch of challenges, of course. Running a startup, how to move your idea from the lab to the market, fundraising, dealing with people who don't understand science. So yeah, different bandwidth of challenges. Probably we'll get to this later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omar. Can you tell us also about the name of your startup?
Yeah, it's called NAWA Scientific. NAWA, like the nucleus.
Yes, NAWA Scientific. Dr. Omar, can you tell us about the prize
company?
that you just won?
Okay, so for this,
We're
I have
all
to tell you.
struggling. At least we want to give people some hope.
Okay, so I need to tell you first what we're doing, then we can get to this prize. So in a nutshell, how the academic, let's say, ecosystem in Egypt is working. We have public universities and we have private universities, and we have public research centers, and then there is one whole quadrant that has been empty for a while, a private research center that is multidisciplinary, that is totally working through a private sector mentality and mindset, growth mindset. This hasn't been there. There has been a couple of good initiatives, but none have made it to become a full multidisciplinary research center. So back in 2015, together with a couple of friends, postdocs from different universities, we gathered and we came back to Egypt. We launched a research center in Center Cairo, Al-Muqattam, that is focused on natural and medical sciences. So far, this is a typical story. Now, the innovation part came next, which was we wanted to solve two main problems. The first problem is the availability of high-tech facilities and research labs. The second was the time that is wasted for researchers to keep moving with their samples between universities and between cities. And the typical way we did our analysis during my master's degree, for instance, was to go with your samples from one university to another and from one city to another, wasting time and money and not getting the scientific output you need at the end. So we came up with this idea to have an online platform over your mobile. You can just simply go to and check NAWA Scientific. You will have a full list of analysis to be done. You check the type of analysis you want to carry out, get a couple of questions, fill them, please, and then press submit. This sends an automatic order to the courier. The courier gets to you, collect the samples, bring them to us. We do the analysis, and then you get a notification, you get your results back. So some people now are calling us a lab in your pocket, which sort of describes what is happening. But the beautiful part in what we're doing is now, regardless of your location and regardless of the equipment you have in your own place, you can do amazing research. And so we had a lot of impact on several research groups in Egypt. Now we're getting samples from outside of Egypt, at least before the current quarantine. And through 5 years of operations, we analyzed more than 30,000 samples coming from 35 universities, 9 countries. This is our basic statistics. Yeah. Last year, we participated in one of the biggest Pan-African entrepreneurship competitions led by Jack Ma himself. Jack Ma, the legendary founder of Alibaba Group, a guy who is, by the way, still humble, which is amazing when you talk to him, still humble to the ground. And he led the competition himself. And alhamdulillah, we won the second place out of 10,000 applicants and 6 months of intense competition and shortlisting. So this was the last achievement last November. And hopefully we have some good news on the way.
So alhamdulillah, the rejections got you to the correct place.
Yeah, you see, exactly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Omar. This was very inspiring. Let's go to Dr. Noha. Noha, switch on your mic, please. The mic is muted.
Hello, everyone. My name is Noha, Noha Yusri. I'm a professor of computer and systems engineering at Alexandria University, but at the same time, I'm now abroad in Qatar, faculty at Weill Cornell Medicine, and doing a bioinformatics research. So I've started my career in Alexandria University, Faculty of Engineering, Computer Science or Computer Engineering, and there I did my master's. I finished my master's in data warehousing. And then I started my PhD as well in Alexandria University itself. However, I got like a joint supervision, which is funded by the Egyptian government, a joint supervision with Waterloo University in Canada, where I spent there like 1.5 years doing the rest of my PhD. So I started actually my PhD study in Alexandria and did the most part, which was in clustering analysis, machine learning algorithms. Did the most part of it in Alexandria University itself. I had a good supervisor. I was challenged actually by the clustering analysis. So I was motivated. I have the self-motivation to develop like another new clustering algorithm for the data analysis. And after I developed the algorithm, when I traveled to Waterloo, I had also a very good supervisor. And I was like a bit, like Dr. Rania mentioned, we should be having supervisors from people of, I think, developing countries. But he was an Egyptian as well. And he has been in Canada for 30 years. And he was actually an excellent professor, an excellent supervisor. So he motivated me, he got me to publish nearly all my publications while I was only in Waterloo for 1.5 years. So that was the greatest achievement when I traveled abroad. So the reason I traveled for 1.5 years is like my father was really against that I travel alone for a long time in another culture, like in a country with a very different culture from ours. So that's why we limited it to only 1.5 years, just to get myself, to experience a new system, to be able to publish my results. And then I also attended some courses there, which were beneficial to me, because then when I audited the course there, I was able to get the notes, and I was able to teach that when I went back to Alexandria after I finished my studies there. So I got my degree actually from Alexandria University, and afterwards I started teaching in Alexandria University in our department. I taught pattern recognition. Then I introduced also bioinformatics studies to the graduate students, like 2 bioinformatics courses. So the thing is, I actually shifted from the pure computer engineering to the bioinformatics field. And to do this, I had to, read lots about the biology, but I was actually motivated to do that. So during my PhD itself, I tried to develop, when I developed my clustering algorithm, I applied this to gene expression analysis, which is in cancer or in other tumors. But then this actually was a start. And during this time, I read a bit about the genes and what they function, but it started more when I started teaching bioinformatics at graduate levels. So I taught myself more about the biology, the background about the biology needed for this. And then after 3 years teaching in Alexandria University, I went to Weill Cornell Medicine in Qatar, which I started there as a bioinformatician in the bioinformatics core. And afterwards, I started networking with people who have like much more depth of knowledge in different kinds of metabolomics analysis, genetics analysis, the whole genome or whole exome analysis, and so forth. So from then, since 2012, I have been there in Weill Cornell Medicine, getting funds to do more research in bioinformatics and in genomics, metabolomics, all kinds of omics to apply to diseases like diabetes and obesity. So yeah, that's the main introduction.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noah. This is the struggle of combining 2 fields, but also that's the benefit. It opened the doorways for you. Challenging, but I think it's worth it.
Thank you,
what makes you unique.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noah. Dr. Ahmed Abbas.
Yes, so assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot, Hanan, for setting this up and for the initiative. And thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here among you. So my name is Ahmad Abbas Sulaiman. I'm a pharmacist by training. I graduated from the Faculty of Pharmacy, Ain Shams University. And after that, I moved to Europe, where I did my master's in quantitative clinical pharmacology or pharmacometrics. And that was split between the Netherlands and Uppsala in Sweden. And by the way, I have to give credit here to Ahmed Samir Madi, who mentored me during my application to the master's program in Utrecht University. And so after doing my master's in quantitative clinical pharmacology, I moved to Germany, where I did my PhD also in pharmacometrics with the focus on lung cancer. And I did my PhD in the University of Bonn. And after that, now I moved to AbbVie. This is a pharmaceutical company. And I'm now working in the clinical pharmacology department in the German affiliate. So for challenges, so start with, I would like to second and concur with Dr. Rania Hathout. So it's not only girls who are struggling when it comes to accommodation in Europe. So I struggled a lot. So I struggled in the Netherlands, I struggled in Sweden, I struggled in Germany. So I think it's a problem. Yeah. So if you're not offered something through student housing or something like that, I think it might be a little bit challenging, and you need to. So this could be an advice that you need to start well in advance to look for accommodation if you're going to move to Europe. I think maybe Airbnb and stuff like that could offer a temporary solution for some time until you find something. This was not there 10 years ago when I moved to Europe, but still you need to plan in advance and to try to find something which balances, of course, between the quality and what you are looking for, and also, of course, the price. Then, since the cost is something which is important when you are on budget and as a student. Another challenge, or maybe not necessarily a challenge, but rather an advice that I would like to pass on. And this is something which I learned through my journey. So when you come to pick a research group, you must have already heard this advice hundreds of times before, yeah? So when you come to pick a research group or a university, you're always advised that try to pick somewhere which is active in a relevant field of study, yeah? And not go to a research group or a university which is researching outdated topics, using outdated tools and stuff like that, yeah? But sometimes the challenge here, if you have little experience and if you don't have appropriate mentoring or do not have lots of mentoring, then maybe you say, okay, so what is relevant and what is not? What is, and how can I identify whether that group or whether this university is the right place to go? And one of the things which I like to do, I learned this to do, and I do it actually now. So go to the career portals, go to the career web pages of, let's say, for example, of a company that you envision you would like to work for in 5 years' time, yeah? And check the positions and check the profiles, check the skills which they are asking for. So you check this company, that company, company X, company Y, company Z, they want the skill, they want the skills, and you start seeing overlap with the skills that they are asking for. Now go back to the research group or go back to the university and ask yourself the question, based of course on the publications, based of course on what they have on their websites and so on. So ask yourself, so is this group, or maybe something also you could consider as a question in your interview, would this group offer me the opportunity to develop my skills so that in 5 years' time, I would have the profile that matches this or fits with what the industry is looking for, or whatever the career you are interested in the future. And this is not only something that you would do before applying for your PhD or for your master's or whatever the program is. So you do it all the way. So you need to be at the edge all the time. Yeah. So, okay, let's see. So what is evolving now? So what is the state of art, as they say? So, okay, this skill seems to be now is in demand. Let's try to develop myself in that. Or let's say, for example, you at some point. So for example, in my situation, I would say, okay, I want to move more towards project management, towards strategic and strategy development and stuff like that. Okay, so what skills are needed for that? So this is something that you need to look out for throughout. So in your application, before your application, and also throughout your career. So this is one of the advices that I would like to pass on.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I think this is one of the really important things, thinking ahead or in advance. And that's why we're hosting all of you to transfer this experience so that people don't say, no one ever told us this or we never heard about this. I hope, inshallah, everyone puts this into consideration. Good luck, Ya Rabbi, inshallah, in all the coming steps.
Thank you.
Okay, now Dr. Mustafa, or Mustafa. Hopefully, Dr. Mustafa soon, inshallah.
No, maybe by the end of this year. So, assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Hanan, for this invitation. And I hope you all, wherever you are safe and healthy in this time. And I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Mustafa Abou. I am Ain Shams University graduate from Faculty Pharmacy, and I did my master's in Egypt, also the same university, Ain Shams University Faculty Pharmacy in biochemistry. And I'm currently doing my PhD in the University of Zurich in Switzerland since 2016. Speaking of challenges, many things have been mentioned, and I can't agree more with many of them. I will just quickly go through the main challenges I have faced. I will categorize them into maybe 4 different categories of challenges. So maybe I will start with the most important thing is institutional challenges. So as Dr. Hathout mentioned, it's very, very important that you choose your PI. And you have really to feel connected to the project that you are working on. You have to really wisely select your PI or the research group based on the kind of research they are doing. So this is very important thing, and included in this institutional challenges that I have faced, that my research project was only funded just for 2 years. But because I was really, really interested in this project and I feel really connected to it, and when I went for the interviews, I liked the group that I will be working with. So I accepted this position knowing that it's only funded for just 2 years. And that was on the expense of other positions. I was also offered 2 other offers from Japan and in Germany. But and for longer period, 5 secured years of 5 years of secured funding. But I didn't really enjoy the work, or I didn't really feel that I would enjoy the work. But I felt it more with the current position that I'm in. So I worked on this, and of course that was a challenge for me. But that was also another opportunity for me to learn how to work on grant proposals. I worked hand by hand with my supervisor on this, and we managed to make this 2 years of funding into even 5 years of funding. So sometimes you might want to take the risk, but you have to make sure that you are in the right group and you are with the right PI, and because this might shape your future. Because I mean, if you have a good reference letter, this really can make or break your future or your further applications. So this is very important thing. So this is for the institutional challenge. Some other challenges quickly also they have been mentioned, like situational challenges, like maybe related to the environment, like accommodation or something. This is really very important. You have to take care of this from the beginning. Some other challenges like academic challenges. You will be introduced to maybe a new learning style, or maybe a new examination style. So you really have to be very flexible with this. Just and be patient also. Give yourself the time. It's always a learning curve, and always get used that you will be like out of your comfort zone, or the ways or everything or the environment that you will used to. You will encounter new challenges. Be just flexible and cool about it. Don't just panic easily. And this takes me to the fourth challenge, which is also very important in my eyes, which is I would call dispositional challenge. This is really related to the yourself, or I would say self-perceptions about oneself as a learner. How do you view yourself? You will always question yourself. Am I good enough to be here? Am I competent to the people? Especially for me, I mean, I did my master's in Egypt, so I was quite late. And this is also a very important thing. Guys, start early. Start application, start preparing yourself as early as possible. While you are doing your bachelor's, start preparing, start taking language courses, start try to take part or to be involved in any research project with a research group in your university. Just even by observation, just try to get familiar with the flow of a research project, how things are done, the different methods, the different techniques. Try to learn all of these, and try to learn to live with rejections. This is the most important thing. That's it.
Thank you, Mustafa, for the nice partitioning of all the issues. And I like the dispositional one at the end. I think at some points, most of the people who pass through the experience agree at some points, and for others, maybe it's like it differs. There are more points that you feel depending on your character, on the country where you're in. And for some points, as you said, all of us, everyone is sharing the same thing. Okay, let's go to Islam. Islam Ashur.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Islam.
My name is Islam Ashur. I am so proud of being here and hearing all of you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Hanan, for the invitation. Actually, I graduated from the Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science and Pharmaceutical Industry from the Future University in Egypt in 2014. Then I have moved to work in a pharmaceutical company, like any pharmacist, to work in as a medical sales representative. I found myself that I like to be deeply in medical knowledge and in scientific knowledge. So I have moved to Italy to do my master. I faced many challenging in finding a good master. So I searched for not much, like which I have here for 1 year. I moved to Italy to do this master. It was really nice. I find myself that I learned too much. Yes, it's not so close to my background as a pharmacist, but it was really nice knowing different experience and getting different experiences. I started my master in medical biotechnology in 2016. After 1 year, I got a good grade, so I have applied for Erasmus. Erasmus is an international organization for exchanging students to do my master thesis in Germany, in Nuremberg. I have done my my master thesis in Germany in the Biomaterial Institute. in tissue engineering, which is also really nice. So always I'm trying to get many different experiences to be aware in many fields. I have faced many challenges, starting by getting the master acceptance of the master applications. I'm receiving many messages from many students who are working in Egypt as a teacher in universities, and they are trying to do their master in Egypt, which takes many years to do the master, maybe 5 years. So I would like to advise them that they have to start earlier to apply to do their applications. They have to consider that it's very important to know the requirements well, because sometimes I'm receiving that I don't have time to do all these requirements at the moment of the deadline of the master. But for my opinion, it's very important to be well prepared before applying to the master. Then my advice also to do some courses of the language of the country which you will travel to. For example, when I graduated from my master, I have studied well the Italian language, because I would like to work and get another experience in Italy. So I tried to take some courses in Italian, but I found that you have to do some relations, you have to do some connections, you have to get many friends there to get the language very easily. So I was so lucky to speak in Italian. So I have applied after my graduation to many pharmaceutical companies, and I worked as a pharma. I am so happy for getting this experience. I would like to tell you that there are some challenges for many friends of mine who are females. Unfortunately, they are facing some problems in racism, and I hear this from some guests of you. Really, you have to take care that you have to understand well why you are going there, what you have to do. You have to explain them that you are not coming to take some chances from them. You are here because you deserve it. You are here because you would like to get some experiences will add to you in your life, in your future. That's it.
Thank you so much, Islam. What's interesting also is that when you're coming from a non-academic background, I think what you said makes a huge difference, taking courses and taking experience, because I know the struggles that you face when you're from a non-academic background, and then you struggle a lot in applying and acceptance. This was very insightful. Thank you, Islam. Nadine, sorry to make you wait. I know you have a meeting. So if you can please tell us, especially that you're in an Arab country.
So hello everyone. I'm really honored to be among this lineup of professors, doctors, and people working everywhere around the world from Egypt. So I graduated, like most of you, from the Ma'in Shams University Faculty of Pharmacy. And because I was the 19th, and the top 18 only get to be working in the academic lineup of the faculty. So I had to work for around just 1 month in Pfizer. And this is when I decided that industry is not for me at all. And I decided that I'll go for academia and research. I started my master's at the American University in Cairo in biotechnology. Unlike what most of you were saying, most of the educational courses or master's, PhD, I didn't do them really by choice, but it was like because of the circumstances, the atmosphere around me that had to dictate this to me at this point, at every point. So while doing the biotechnology masters at the AUC, I got appointed at the Ain Shams University with the year after me. So I graduated in 2008, but with the graduates of 2009, they asked me if I would like to go back and teach as a TA. So while being a TA at Ain Shams University, I was still doing my master's at the American University in Cairo. And after finishing it up, my project was in a collaboration with KAUST, King Abdullah University for Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia. So this is where I got to know more about KAUST. And while applying for the PhD, I actually was applying in Europe, particularly in the UK. But the most scholarship I could get was half scholarship, half funding. And half funding at this point was just making me pay 8,000 sterling pounds per year, because this is a practical field and you need to have funding or a grant to cover your project. But so I had to give it up. And I was actually in Saudi Arabia for personal reasons, and I decided to go and give it a try. So it didn't work out from the first, not the second. And actually it worked out only from the third time. So I had to apply for KAUST because I was living in Saudi Arabia, and this was the only option for 3 times to get accepted. Also, when I was applying, I was like sending to all PIs that I was interested in their work, but it's not necessarily that you get the reply from the one that you mostly like the projects they work on. But at this point I got introduced to epigenetics, which wasn't really taught a lot to us, or maybe we haven't touched it much in the undergrad or even in the master's. It was just a chapter or something in a course. And I started my PhD in epigenetics, particularly environmental epigenetics and how the environment affects the epigenome. And this is like really was kind of a new field back then. And after I finished it, I just started a few months back a postdoc in New York University, but the Abu Dhabi branch, because I also would like to always stay around the Middle East, having responsibilities that I wouldn't like to be so much far from my family and like at the end of the world. Even when I got accepted at University of Southern California, I still also gave it up because I was like applying to the best universities, but still rooted back to staying close to where my family is. So I would say the challenges is that when we were in the undergrad level, we didn't really get enough mentoring or research hands-on experience. We would like to have more networking, more connections, maybe with your professors, get their advice about where to apply, try to discover your interest at this point. Interests change every few years, I would say. You get introduced to new stuff, you work on things you never thought you would work on, but still you would need mentoring and connections. If I had the connections, maybe they would advise me like where to apply in the UK, where people may have funding for a certain project that might be of interest to apply at this point, and I didn't know about it. So I was just sending emails and applying everywhere and getting responses if I can find a scholarship or a grant, and I didn't know at this point how to do that. So this was a big challenge. The second challenge is not to give up on the rejections. I got rejected. It was the only option in front of me, KAUST at this point, and I didn't give up. Like I applied 3 times to get in. Also, don't give up when when Allah closes one door, He opens definitely another one. So I was really down when I didn't become a TA with my class, and I got this opportunity the next year. It didn't turn out at the end to be the right thing, but I had some experience in it that I won't give up. And that's it. I also would say that until now, and I think Dr. Omar would help maybe all of us, until now we did not get the experience of how to do a startup or the entrepreneurship skills, which is also something I would say, something I would have always liked to learn, because I always have those ideas and I don't know where to start from. So, so it's also nice to have this experience and maybe get some courses on it if you have the chance to. That's all for now.
Interesting, Nadine. I feel like also you were in a roller coaster, ups and downs, rejections, and then acceptance, and then it comes back to you. But I'm sure that you got a huge experience from this that you're sharing with us now. Okay, because I know that you have a meeting, can you tell us what, in your opinion, you think helped in your acceptance? Is it something that you changed or you developed yourself, or?
There are two things, I guess. So when you're applying, try to study a lot about the professor you're applying to work with, and adjust your statement of purpose, adjust your application all towards his interests. So where does he want to hire people, in which project, and you try to adjust your statement of purpose towards that. This is one thing, and I think this worked in particularly in the postdoc. Also networking and going to conferences as much as you can. So this is where you get to talk to people and know if there is any